My name is Rey Flores. I am from Silver City in New Mexico. I am 37 years old. Just celebrated my birthday on Saturday. I am a twin. There are 7 of us in my family, 6 boys, 1 girl. And I think that, I say that my grandma was my prophet for my vocation, because when I was 7 years old, she told me that I was going to be a priest. And I lived with her from the age of 7 to 13. And so I tell people she planted a seed in my life. And so then she taught me how to pray. She took me to church with her. She talked to me about what kinds of saints there were in the church, and introduced me to that kind of mystery. And so I think that she's the one that started my curiosity into what later became my vocation. And then as I grew up in the church, I was an altar server, and it was in college that I became more aware of my vocation. And I joined the National Catholic Student Coalition, and it's a leadership group for young Catholics on a university level. And I got involved on their leadership team and met a lot of good people. And there was one priest in particular that I met, Father Frank, and he was a Franciscan, and he had a certain kind of attraction to him in the way that he cared for the people and the way that he celebrated Mass, and really drew me into kind of asking the question again. And so I prayed about it, and there was a lot of questions that I had, and so I think I was able to really kind of enter into conversation with Father Frank, and so it was really, really good. I think I was probably a sophomore in college at the time. And then I graduated from college with a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in counseling. And then I realized that I wanted to work in a school with students, so I became a counselor at a middle school. And I did that for 2 years, and I really enjoyed that. And there was one day that I was sitting at my desk, and I thought to myself, I don't want to have a regret as an old man having not at least tried the vocation. And so I really think that was the start of my discernment. And I think one of the hardest steps for me was just taking that first step, just trusting that God would be there, and God would guide me, and God would lead me. And there's a movie called Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, I think, and there's a scene in the movie where there's this huge boulder that's chasing him, and he's having to cross this empty space, a chasm, and the way that he crosses it was he spells the name of God. He throws some sand on the empty space, and then it's just one step at a time. And so for me, it was just taking one step at a time. And the first one was the most difficult. But then you get across the chasm, and you realize that God is certainly taking care of you. And so I went to seminary, and I studied at Mundelein Seminary in Chicago for 5 years. I did a year of pre-theology. I did 4 years of theology. It was a beautiful time. I met some incredible friends who I have to this day, and was ordained 5 years ago in 2005 for the Diocese of Las Cruces. And I spent my first 3 years as an associate at Holy Cross Church with Monsignor Anderson, who was the pastor. And then 2 years ago, July 1st, I was named to be pastor of the church in Hatch, which is Our Lord of Mercy. And our claim to fame is that we're the chili capital of the world. It's a small farming community. There's about 400 families. We grow chili, cotton, beans, melons, pecans, alfalfa. So it's really been a great experience to work with people, to live with them, and as a first-time pastor, to make some mistakes and to learn from those, and to really try to understand God's will in my life. Part of my other responsibility that I have is part-time co-vocation director with Father Marcos Reyna. And so that's certainly a challenge as well, to be a full-time pastor and part-time vocation director. So I appreciate what you're doing in terms of asking people to share their own story, because sometimes we listen to someone or hear a word or a phrase, and sometimes it sparks something in ourselves. So that's part of my story, and thank you for allowing me this time to spend with you.